Welcome. Thank you. I'm Shoto. I'm the Sukansu and the Shisui here at SokukoJi Buddhist Monastery, which means I help keep things going, trying to help with the programming and the property upkeep here. I just want to invite anyone who finds value in these teachings to please participate either by joining us for the Dharma talks from either Sokuzan or his monks, his students. Join us for any of the book studies throughout the week, even just one time throughout the week would be great to see you in our Zendo or to join us online. We could really use your help with your practice, joining us, and also financially to help us keep the programming going here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone being Sandy, Deb, and Chokodawa online, and Shoto and Sokuzan and Zendo, and Shoto has to leave.
Good luck.
So tonight I've been asked to give the Dharma talk. And I can't remember what we decided to call it.
Why do this?
Why do this? So I was asked to give the Dharma talk a couple hours ago, and then I was asked what the talk title would be. And I said, why do this? It applied in multiple ways. But what I have been listening to in various ways in our studies is we are on a path that seems to be very demanding. It doesn't look like it has results, or we're told not to look for results. So why do this? I think many of us get on this path because we have a longing for a spiritual direction, a connection spiritually, or we want to end suffering, or we want to be with all things, serve others. And in today's study of Dogen, we considered just how disappointing this path can be in any outcome. Where we are asked to go in the Buddhist tradition is to face suffering, to look at suffering in the face, to look at a wall, which is looking at our mind, and see how little control we have, how little say-so we have. How our teacher points us to see what this is, no matter what, to see the emptiness of this reality, or what we call reality, to see the illusion that we are caught up in, that we are engaged in, that we are triggered in so many ways to reach into, to do something about, to fix. So why do this? It seems like so many of us, boy, that's the second time I've said that today. So many of us, looking at that phrase filler. Or second time I've said that in this talk. Thank you. So as an example of that, something that is so innocuous as our language, watching our language. Is that why we're facing the wall? What does that have to do with anything? I would like to do something about the suffering on the Gaza Strip. I would like to do something about the suffering of the homeless that are walking by on North Avenue who ask for landscaping work. And for some reason, and that's my why? I feel that looking at the wall, looking at this mind, receiving whatever it is that shows up, including the intense disappointment, messiness, I'm searching for a word more beyond disappointment. Just the pain of it, I guess, the suffering and the pain of having to really see what is going on in this mind, this body-mind complex, and really see the human condition. So my why started out with wanting to be with all things. And with Dogen's study today about Dharma nature, about the Dharma nature samadhi, it just moved me into my next phase, which is there is absolutely no thing that can come, that I can attain, that I can gain from this practice. I'm doing this practice because I'm doing this practice. I'm showing up day after day, no matter what, because this is the practice. Are you showing up for a greater understanding? Are you showing up for relief of suffering? Are you showing up to be with all things? As many of you know, I've been studying Naropa and Talopa's life and looking at Naropa's phases of his spiritual path, where he was spiritual yet followed the cultural path, spiritual yet caught by what the expectations were for his what do you call it, his place in society. And then he pushed farther into, no, I need to know more. I need to give myself completely over to this Buddhist path. And so he joined a monastery, joined the university, Nalanda University, and studied and became one of the best scholars, if not the best scholar of his time. And then that wasn't enough. Then he realized that he had all this knowledge, but he didn't see what it was pointing at. And so he started another phase. And this phase was a phase of intense disappointment. It was looking in the face of who he was, just like we do when we look at the wall. We're looking at who we are and all the ways that we look away at what actually is showing up, get pulled away by the three poisons. And then he meets the teacher And the teacher, I don't know, wrings him out, requires him to jump off, I don't know if it's buildings or not mountains, but hills, and basically die or harm himself such that his teacher Talopa revives him. So is that really what's happening? Probably not. But what is that metaphor? What is it that we have to give up? What is it that we have to see so intensely? Or own, maybe it's the, oh, what do we really have to understand what suffering is? I mean, really understand suffering? This path is demanding. Does it have to be? Where is the liberation? So am I depressing everyone? Yes.
Cheer up.
Shoto.
Shadow bowing in that area, I'm thinking of the teaching. The Dharma is good in the middle, or good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. And it seems like we have some recognition of something good at the beginning. Otherwise, if it just looked like how you're talking about it, we wouldn't do it. Is there, like, what's that thing that's good in those three parts? Bowing.
Ondo bowing. Is it our expectations are somewhat met? So we're looking for some relief, we're looking for some satisfaction that there is a cause, a reason for us to be on the path. We're looking for community. We find community, we find like-minded people. But then again, we shift. So if you think of Naropa's life, he found, no, I'm here, I'm in the monastery. Boy, this is meaningful. I'm learning, I'm really understanding what this is about, attaining knowledge. But it wasn't the knowledge that the Buddhist tradition is pointing at. And was Dharma good in the end for Naropa? If we truly understand suffering and receive the suffering of the world, no matter what, is there some good in that? The tradition says that it's liberation. We're liberated from the limitation of this person, this body, this existence. And, for me, the words are identify with consciousness. Sokuzan doesn't agree with those words, but that's where I'm at right now, where we see ourselves as not separate because we can see everything is consciousness. Everything is arising in consciousness. Good Dharma, is that satisfaction? I think that's one of the things that, especially like Naropa in his story, he had to give up. Whether it comes back or there's something else on the other side of that, I don't know, but it certainly looks like something that you have to give up. The good Dharma at some point on the path. More?
Shadow bowing. It's not crisp, but something. How does inspiration show up in the midst of that bowing? Or what is inspiration on the path?
I think again, inspiration can be from this sense of belonging to a spiritual path, belonging to a community, belonging to a teacher. Inspiration can come from the study, and inspiration can come from beginning to understand. some of the concepts, dependent origination, emptiness. But where I'm at today, inspiration has to be another offering. We have to go beyond that. And it's not even a beyond. It's like to see our attachment to any reference point. And the reference point we're talking about here is, why am I doing this? Having a reason to do this, having a desire for a cause or an effect, a result. So you're catching me in a moment of, there ain't nothing out there, folks.
Bowing. Were you in Bill Waldron's book study yesterday?
Yes, but not the whole one, but some of it.
I can't remember if you were here. So the questions out of that where it said something like the teachings aren't like the teachings are a means to liberation, like they're not trying to set up how things actually are, and that you can't do that with the words. And I'm wondering how maybe we can look, or I'm asking you how to look at these difficult or negative sounding teachings in a way that's not even in a way, but is that also like a reference point, like that things are like negative?
It can be, right? Any reference point is about attachment. And so, maybe today with my, I don't know, with the whatever smacked me in the face in the Dogen study, maybe that I'm attached to that or grasping at it. And I don't know why I would, but that could very well be what's happening there. And tomorrow you catch me and it won't be that way. But good or bad, right? So
Good or bad, right?
thank you.
What is the grasping? What is the grasping, and why should you, are you implying you should just stop grasping?
Our teaching is to look at the grasping, not to give up the grasping.
Okay. Is there a fruition to that, or is there a success story around that?
Not necessarily, but looking at it is part of the path, gives us an invitation to see what actually is, see the identity that is grasping.
What if it shows up that what actually is you feel like crap because you're stuck on something? How about that?
That's what's actually showing up.
Then what?
Then we receive that.
Okay.
Josh,
How might you recommend receiving the feeling of laughter?
well, I think like SokukoJi was just saying, don't look away from it. Look at what actually is showing up. And that could be uncomfortable, but it could be what is showing up in your body and the thoughts associated with it. Receive it all. And see where that leads or doesn't lead, but it's like walking right into that room. It's an uncomfortable room, but you're going to walk into it. And as always, take care of yourself. Don't do anything that you're not required, like Naropa's story is, where he really went through some tough teachings. I don't think that's what we're being asked to do. We're not being asked to throw ourselves off a building and die only to let our teacher revive us. more. Mm.
What is your view or your understanding of these ancient teachings of Talopa, Naropa, Milarepa, Marpa, and all of these various ones and other ones than that, versus there is extreme situation that's could be in these days could be seen as abuse by the teacher to the student? What are your understanding of how that shows up in history in the past, and how that may even show up in current times?
Well, I think it can be historical or mythological. It could be how that story has been passed on and what it meant to the people at the time and how they imbued it with whatever they were looking at the time. So it could very well move into the mythological. But for us today, it's like whatever comes up when we hear that story. And for some reason right now, Naropa and Talopa, I'm living with that relationship. And in particular, Naropa's path.
Can you say, for those who might not know, can you say who they were in the Tibetan, the Kagyu lineage?
These were the Indians that informed the Kagyu forebears, Milarepa and Marpa. So
Who came before them?
Talopa, who came before Talopa?
Mhm.
I guess Saraha. I can't remember his teacher's name. Saleha, Saraha, something
So
like
who
that.
was Vajradhara?
That is the Indian who started the Tibetan tradition, Tibetan Buddhist tradition, Padmasambhava. That's who I think it is. And so he was the first one that, I don't know if he came to Tibet or how he entered Tibet, but then Talopa, Naropa, and then Marpa and Milarepa were Tibetans that came to India to, well, Marpa came to India from Naropa and Milarepa came to Marpa, who was in Tibet. But that was like 700 years after Padmasambhava or Vajradhara. That's my understanding. I'm not getting a head nod, so I'm thinking I might be wrong. And that's okay.
No, it's not.
No?
No.
How about that laugh?
That's
That
pretty good. That's a pretty
the
good cover up.
religious or the religious nervous laugh.
Religious laugh. Religious,
I'm thinking of
heretical smile.
I'm thinking of the group of women I just met with. There were, I think, 8 women, and the topic was living with pain. Who wants to come to a group called Living with Pain? The same people that are not attending or attending this Dharma talk.
Did you invite them to come?
I did not. But it's I don't know, it's an invitation to look directly at pain, to look at it and not look away from it and consider what that could be. Why that would be a choice for them. And they came up with many choices or many reasons for it. Primarily that it helps them not store that and make them vulnerable for future pain in that same area. It helps them be more available to others and therefore not go to war with whatever shows up. So why do this? For someone who's not even on the Buddhist path, it was very clear that life is suffering, and what do we want to do with it? And looking directly at it is more effective than other ways they have tried to do this in the past. Tried to live with pain, the pain of their loved ones, their physical pain, their emotional pain, their spiritual pain. So for me, that is my why do this. Is I can be somewhat more present and more available for those kinds of conversations with people who aren't on the Buddhist path, but yet are looking to be, I don't know, to relieve, I guess, the world's suffering in their own life and the lives of their loved ones. They were all Latino. None of them had been born in this country. So we haven't gotten to that pain yet. But we touched it a little bit tonight.
Did you practice your Spanish?
I did not, but I heard it and I could understand a little bit of it. But yeah. And they were about probably of the 8 people, there were probably 5 countries represented. Jasheen.
Bowing. I'm just wondering if if there is no actually similarity between the group of those 5 women who met to look and talk about their pain and what we are doing when we are gathering and we look at our pain and we are trying to find a way of dealing with that pain, not only my own pain, but the pain of others. So when you are asking the question who would like to do it, I think we all who are on this path agreed to do it because we are not covering the fact that there's a suffering. And with that acknowledgement, we are trying to find a way of freeing ourselves and others. So yeah, I think it's a good example of that it can happen also outside of the Buddhist path. But I have a question for you because you mentioned before, I didn't know about too much about Naropa before until you started talking about Naropa. I'm wondering, how do you see the depth of motivation and trust in the teacher when the student like Naropa was asked to jump over the cliff? What must be in the student to be able to make this kind of gesture? Bowing.
Ondo, I think you know very well. I think the cliff that we're looking at is all the people that have left this community and have said, this is too difficult, it's wrong, it's not the correct teaching, it's led by an unethical teacher. We're jumping off that cliff. I know, you look in the Zendo here, there's, I'm going to count 5 of us. How uncomfortable is that? How painful is it to stay and continue to look at what is showing up? Look at the teachings. Don't look away from what is happening. feel the, whatever feelings are coming up for you, abandonment, disappointment, fear, doubt. And just like this talk, it's difficult. It's, looking at uncomfortability, looking at somebody who's wanting to say there's no point. There really is no point. There's no result. And yet do it anyways. So does that get at what you were asking, Jashin? Oh, SokukoJi.
So I'd like to hear what your understanding is, and I realize it's conceptual understanding more than likely, of the difference between the result of the mundane path of getting a degree, learning how to garden, becoming a therapist as you've done, or studying, getting a degree in this or that, or learning a skill, all the relative practices that we do to have a definite relative outcome, and the outcome or fruition of the spiritual path as it shows up in the Buddha's Dharma, and as it has been taught for thousands of years in lots of different ways with different kinds of fruition. Can you say something about that based on your understanding, your inspiration around to even do this? Since that's your topic of your talk.
So relatively, we can have initial gain. I think that's what I was trying to get at when looking at the path, and that there are different places in the path where there can be a relative satisfaction in the gaining knowledge, gaining a community, and being around like-minded people, interacting with a teacher who pushes us, and to appreciate the intensity of the path, help us to really see the depths of the path and have occasional insights. All that could be relative. Fundamentally, obviously I don't know the fundamental fruition, but you point at nothing happens. And so fundamentally, we could say we're already enlightened. We just stop covering it up. We see what this is. And fundamentally, we can potentially be a teacher. We can be a teacher, I guess, on the relatively too. And maybe when I say that, why do this? Because there is not any outcome to this. Maybe that's where we're starting to switch from the relative points of success or attainment on the relative path, and starting down the fundamental path, which is no reference point, nothing happens, nothing gained, nothing lost. Is there more that you could ask so that you can help me?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything more, Jashin? Did you have more on what you had brought up?
Jashin bowing. I have to say that to the story of Naropa, that I'm glad that SokukoJi doesn't ask us to jump over the cliff. I don't know who would be willing to do it, but I have to admit that I've been recently having that struggle with coming to the point when I have even difficulties to verbalize questions, and it feels like the more I try to understand, the more frustration comes to me. And I, um, I just now listening to you, what came to me is that I want to know. After asking yesterday a question to Sokuzan, what is the gain? I asked that question and was like instantly I knew that, and I didn't mean the gain for the ego, but even talking about like a gain for the totality, it's like who wants to know it? Who wants to know the answer for this question? And when I'm listening to you, it feels to me that something in me wants to know something which I cannot know. So the question maybe to you would be, how can we possibly come to the study group and study without really uh, wanted to know the definitive answer to the questions which come? Bowing.
Yeah, that's a very good question. How can we show up? You know, is it more about, yeah, is it more just about showing up? And then, I use the word trusting that whatever question is going to be asked will be asked, trusting that, my willingness to give everything to this path. There's something else there though too. Oh, being willing to, well, you're basically subjecting yourself maybe to the teachers and this teaching to see beyond this limited self, to see beyond. That's the fundamental, that you're no longer identifying with just this body mind. You're aware of it. You're operating out of it, so to speak, but you are consciousness only. So that's the path that we're on. And it seems like in some ways it's this unknowing of the grip we have on ourselves, unknowing about whatever pillars or reference points we're grabbing a hold of. So is it showing up? I'm answering it in many different ways. Is it showing up to see those reference points and seeing our grasping of them? It's still like result oriented. Yeah. Go ahead.
Bowing. So does fruition on the Buddhist path can fruition on the Buddhist path be the no fruition then? Bowing.
The no one will experience fruition. So is there fruition if no one's experiencing it? I don't know about you, but I know I'm in the weeds. Thank you for being here in the weeds with me. Shoto.
Shadow bowing, how does Buddhism work with these negative teachings or like pointing out suffering that's different than nihilism? Bowing.
I think there's this tradition that is offers a different relationship to not knowing, to and it's more the tradition, the people of the lineage bear witness to it over and over and over again, and try to communicate what it is they're seeing, what it is we need to see. And so to me, it's yeah, it's so hard to put into words. Anything more?
Shadow bowing. To see you around the temple, you don't seem pessimistic. You usually are polite and approachable. So like it might even be surprising if someone only ever heard you here and then sees you. It's like, what? You're really happy and nice generally. So there seems like it's not all down stuff. You don't seem to drag that around. Like, what's that I'm seeing?
Well, I think even in this talk, we're experiencing that, in that we're being asked to look at suffering directly in the face. And that suffering is here. I don't know about you, but my experience of looking at this body-mind complex, it's really disappointing. It's crazy disappointing. I don't know. Do we not live there? Do we just visit it on the cushion? I think maybe that's what is an excellent thing that you're pointing at, that we learn that we can't take things so seriously because there isn't anyone here. So does that negate us looking at it and having these difficult Dharma talks, or different difficult moments where we're really trying to embrace the I want to say worthlessness, but that's not the right word. The emptiness. That's the word in the tradition. The complete emptiness of what we're doing. No result, just completely empty. Yes.
Shadow bowing, like maybe just a comment, but I know one thing that I really like Sangha for is like we're kind of all miserable together in our own way, and there's something kind of fun about that at times. Like, yeah, I don't know if there's anything in that area for you, bowing.
Yeah, we have a couple of our, well, just considering that there's one monk, Asokazan, the teacher here tonight, and we have how many monks? And that, so many of them are not here for various reasons. Josh.
What is so disappointing?
Disappointing in general.
But, what is the disappointment, or how does that arise for you? Perhaps is there something you're noticing that is causing this disappointment?
So I've referred to, I think, disappointment a couple times. One is when you're on the cushion and you see what shows up in your mind, and you see the grasping, and you want to stop that grasping. You see the garbage and the like for me, it's not uncommon for me to be on the cushion and figuring out what I'm going to do next. I've got a project going. How am I going to accomplish that project? That gets frustrating because I don't want to look at that. Why would I want to spend the time on the cushion? I want to look at what is showing up. That's disappointing. And then, on the path where we are on the path, I think the place that I'm at right now is that this is a really disappointing path, that there is no place to get. There is no payoff. There is nothing to be gained. It is, I want to be with all things. I want to, with my clients, with the people that I meet, I want to actually not have my stuff get in the way of me being present to them. And that's impossible. So I'm disappointed. You're a therapist. I forgot about that.
The connection to what we're saying. It's inner critique. It's only like, God, you're so judgmental. If I see it at the wall, I'm like, it's really bad.
Yeah. Yes.
So it feels shameful.
Yeah. Shame.
I look at that, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
just silence
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah. So that's disappointing that we get to look at that over and over and over again, and it doesn't necessarily leave. The tradition is, there's no promises. SokukoJi.
Is there such a thing as disappointment without a person who's disappointment, or without a therapist who's disappointed?
Yes.
Is it possible to just watch, observe, see disappointment arise without the particular attachment of or description of cause and effect?
Yes. I've maybe had slight experiences of that, but I'm
Is that
relying on you.
is that an experience? How do you know
No.
something is everything that show up an experience?
Everything that shows up is an experience.
How about something that doesn't show up?
It's not an experience.
What is it?
It is all illusion. It is not separate, but that's not what you're getting at right now.
What am I getting at?
It's my mind is, I've lost the train.
It's just consciousness, not a result.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we have a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, want to continue to subject themselves to life is a disappointment. This is not worth it. Don't do it. Don't meditate. That SokukoJi has actually had a talk. Don't meditate. Showed him.
Should have bowing. Why do this?
That's what hit me today, is that there is absolutely no bloody reason to do it.
Not even a little bit. Is there anything like better about being direct with our BS? Like, can you squish it into a improvement answer? Stop.
SokukoJi.
So you just sat in front of 8 people. today, who came to work without working with pain. Was that the title?
Yes, living with pain.
Living with pain. Oh, okay. So what was your motivation for doing that? I know you were paid an outrageous amount for that. All donation based, so not much happened there, I presume. A little bit, maybe, but it doesn't matter. We're not doing it for that. Otherwise, we wouldn't do this. If this is about earning money, I certainly wouldn't be here. What is this about for you? Why are you doing it? Why is it so important for you to go over there and meet these people, having no particular outcome in mind other than just to do it? Say something, but I think it'll be helpful to, maybe for you to just express that, but for others to hear it.
Well, initially and relatively, it's to be with all things, to do my part in reducing the war between people. But fundamentally, that's, I think, what I hit the wall today. I'm doing it because I'm doing it.
This reminds me of Trungpa Rinpoche's a teaching that he even had a book of poems with this title to it called First Thought, Best Thought. So the first thing that shows up is it. And that would be along the lines of what you're saying there. Is just doing it. There's no second commentary coming along, reinforcing why you're doing it. So thank you.
Thank you. Shoto.
Shadow bowing. Is there something about like when you don't have a reason for it? Like, is it helping people? Like, is that like the same thing? I'm wondering if those two things you're bringing up aren't really different. Or yeah, bowing.
They're probably not necessarily different in the outcome to the people that are showing up, but to me, yeah, both of those could live together relatively. There's a reason, but what's showing up in here, it's completely devoid of any. It's not just outcome or result. It is devoid of reason, purpose. Josh.
First, this question. Are the spiritual path and the mundane path separate or not separate?
Not separate.
What does it mean for them to not be separate?
Means that it's all part of consciousness, and in my mind it can be all illusion. What is actually showing up is all illusion, mundane and spiritual.
So can practicing the spiritual path, so you know that 8 minutes, which I probably don't, can it provide relative benefits on the mundane path? That it's the possibility exists. Or
Yes.
is that completely? It's not completely hopeless. I think I just betrayed what I'm getting at here. So wanting to avoid the total hopelessness of it all.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool that that's coming up here, is that we can see that longing, see that grasping.
I want it to matter.
I want it to be different than what is actually showing up. I want this talk to be different than what is actually showing up. And yet we're all here because we're willing to be with whatever shows up. And I think that's powerful. I think that's the teaching in a nutshell. And I want to thank SokukoJi.
Thank you. Thank you for this talk. And I have my talk title for Sunday, Hopelessness.
Jasheen will love it. He's going into hopelessness, Jasheen.